Good morning, all. It's still morning, I think. Yeah, still morning. Just want to try to touch basics on a topic that's been going through my mind lately. And I'm curious, why is it that for people to be considered smart or intelligent or to know anything about anything, they have to go to school, no matter what the school is, whether it's college, high school, seminary, it doesn't matter. You got to go to some kind of school, and you got to get a certificate or a degree, qualification or certification. And if you don't have any of these things, you're considered uninformed, misinformed, uneducated, dumb, or just pick your variety of words that describe somebody who doesn't have a piece of paper hanging on the wall. What's crazy is, back 30 years ago, 20 years ago, many people, and even still today, especially like in the world of the trades, if you're a tradesman, you understand what I'm talking about, you don't have these certifications, these degrees, but you still do your job, you know your job well, you're considered an expert in that field, and probably many others. I grew up knowing my own dad as a jack of all trades, master of none. The man knew, I'm the same way, knows a little about a lot, but doesn't have an expertise in really anything, but knows enough to get by. So when discussing different topics, and if you have somebody who has a degree from a college, and then somebody who doesn't, and they're discussing things, everybody, and I'm not going to say everybody, I hate to use that, a great majority is going to lean to the side of the person who holds that degree. And they're not going to really hold to account much of anything the person without the degree even says. But the crazy part is, the person with the degree and the person without the degree get their source information from the same sources. We all have access to reading, right? And we can all read, I hope. I question some people this day and age. But if you can read, you can learn. So you don't need to be a lawyer to know law. You don't need to be a doctor to know medicine. You don't need to be a scientist to know whatever field you're in. You don't need to be an engineer to know how certain things work. You know how many mechanics learn in a garage and then go on to be a mechanic? They just start tinkering on cars. They have the thirst within them to know something. They go and do it. And you know how they really learn? By making mistakes. When they make that mistake, they're like, probably shouldn't do that again. But now I know how it works. And it might cost a little extra money, but you figure things out. This whole hive mind collective of today, that everybody has to think the same way. And if you don't, man, you're uneducated. You're misinformed. You're a conspiracy theorist because you don't think the way everybody else thinks. You don't go with the grain. You don't walk the walk with everybody else. Well, yeah, I guess I would, or people would, if what they're doing, was a good thing or right, and, wasn't questionable, and I didn't have doubts about it. But like most, I'd say, normal people, if something doesn't add up, just simply ask questions. Just ask a question. Well, why doesn't this make sense? Why is this not hitting me right? Why am I doubting this? And then go out and start looking into things and start questioning it. There's never, ever in my life, has there ever been a time that I can remember, minus 4 years ago, where that was a problem. People were actually thought differently of who did that. They're like, hey man, good on you. You looked into things for yourself. You thought for yourself. You used your own brain. God gave us a brain to use, right? We should probably use it. Just because you're told something is good or right or the right way to do things does not necessarily mean it is. I think we learned this lesson, this hard lesson, over the past 4 years when it comes to certain things. And I won't mention what, but there's no problem, and there shouldn't be a problem, if you're questioning things. If you decide, you for yourself, say, hey, I don't like the sound of that. I'm not sure that's right. So I'm going to look into it myself. And I'm going to go find whatever resources I need to. But let me tell you something. The problem with the internet, and this is a problem I've ran into, and I'm sure many of you have, is if it's online, it can be changed. And it can be changed pretty much right in front of your eyes without you even knowing about it. Things can be hidden. They can be kept. They just, pages, sites, whatever, that existed a month ago can no longer be there when you go to find them. If you don't think this happens, I don't know what world you're living in, because it does happen. It happens all the time. Everybody laughed when I was being censored on Facebook for the things I was posting and stuff. And, back in Facebook jail for 30 days. And, you shouldn't post that. Well, why not? Why can't I? Who says that I can't post things that I agree with or that I don't feel are correct? Who gets to make that choice and decision? Not you, not anybody else. I do. Because this is my thought, my opinion, my way of believing, just like everybody else has their own. So I don't always go with the flow, because you shouldn't. If you start doing that, if you look around and start thinking about things, you realize people truly are afraid to think differently. Some of you think you are, but you're really not. When it comes to religion, especially, can't go against what the church says, because, that's the church. And you can't say anything against the church. Well, why not? We all have the same book, right? We all have the basic same book. So we can just read it, and then we can discuss things, right? And you should. And when you discuss things with people that have different points of view, different perspectives, I've mentioned this before, you'll actually learn things you didn't know before. You can sit there and discuss your differences instead of getting all butthurt and mad and slamming the door or hanging up the phone or walking away. No, you actually talk. You work things out. Maybe you come to an agreement. Maybe you don't. But maybe it gives you something to think about later on. And when I say, hey, question the church, I'm not calling everybody who does these things bad people. I really believe that many of them really don't understand what they're actually doing. I believe some of these schools are around specifically to teach people all the same thing, so there is no questioning it. So everybody will just have the same thought, the same way of thinking, walk the same line. But I just put in a post a couple days ago, I remember it might have been the 90s, even in the early 2000s, you had commercials, companies coming out saying, dare to be different, stand out in the crowd, be yourself, don't fit in, pretty much. Be that, not the rebel so much, but, be your own person. Think for yourself. If something does not make sense to you, don't just, well, everybody else is doing it, so I guess I should. Or, hey, the doctors say it's okay, maybe I should go do this. Well, let me tell you something, folks. And you can easily spend a little time looking into this. It's not going to be super easy, but you got to dig a little. But you can find this stuff. When you start following the trail of money and who pays for what, you start to find out where people's opinions come from. Did you know it's like 95% of scientists agree with whoever fund them? That's kind of true, people. So a company comes out and say, hey, we want you to run tests on this, and this is the result we're looking for. We're going to fund you. If you don't find the result we're looking for, we're not going to fund you anymore. See how it works? So, of course, those scientists come out and tell you exactly what that company wants to hear with their scientific research, and then they get all this money. Doctors are the same way. Dentists, medical field, period. We found out that, when they add incentives to pushing a certain medication or whatever, these doctors or whatever get paid a little extra for pushing this new thing. Of course they're going to push it. And then when we all seen the commercials, when you have a new thing come out, and you start, the last 20 seconds of the commercial is the side effects. And it's like, well, wow, that's a lot of side effects when I'll just go through whatever I'm going through, because those side effects sound a lot worse than what I'm actually going through. So do I really want to risk it? But these people are getting paid to push this product, so of course they're going to push it, maybe not knowing all too well that it's not the best. And you're like, well, and of course you're my doctor. My doctor's going to care about me. So I'll say some of them do, but a lot of them are worried about that almighty dollar. And we know in the Bible, we can't serve God and mammon, right? So when the love of money overtakes the love of people, or the love of God, then you're serving the wrong one. So especially in, my posts, my videos, they're really aimed more towards the Christian community, the believing world. So if you're in these businesses, industries, and you're doing these things, do you ever sit and ask yourself, hey, am I doing the right thing? Am I really helping people, or am I pushing something that I don't really know about, but hey, I'm being told it's okay, so I'm going to do that anyway because I really want to keep my job, which I understand to a point. But people, be different. Speak up if you realize something is not right. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to be that person to say, hey, there's something going on here that I don't like. Oh, are you going to get chastised? Yeah, probably. You might lose a couple friends, maybe a couple co-workers, maybe even a family member. But you know what? When you look at things in the overall picture, and your life is related to God, and as we know, we need to love God over this world, right? And you're doing things in a godly sense. We are to love God over all things, people, all things. Because in the end, this life is just a little drop in the bucket, right? A little drop in the bucket of eternity. Eternity is, it's a very long time. Our life, we're lucky if we can hit 80. Some of us a lot less. Hell, I'm lucky to be 51. 51. Sorry, birthdays mean nothing to me, so they just kind of pass on by and I forget my age. But just think about when you're doing things. One, just because somebody who has a degree or an education, they're speaking on something, it does not mean they're actually telling you the truth. For one, they're not being honest, because maybe they're being paid to do this. Maybe they're getting a little extra on the side to put this out. Okay, there's that one. And just because somebody doesn't go to school for a certain topic or subject does not necessarily mean they do not know what they're talking about. Research is research, and it's all out there for everybody to find. Some people actually like to do this and look into things, while others just go, oh, they said it's okay, and they've got the degrees, and they've gone to school, and they've done the work. Well, they might have an ulterior agenda. They might have a narrative they're following. And people like your friends, the people who have been there your entire life, your family, the ones you grew up with, who love you, who would do anything for you, they're not going to lie to you, folks. They're going to be the ones saying, hey, I'm here trying to really help you guys, and I understand you guys believe in this or that, but I'm the one really looking out for you, because we're family. I'm sorry, I don't care how long you've been going to your doctor. He don't care about you, or she, or whatever, as much as your own family does. I don't care how long you've been going to him. They don't. Nobody does. Nobody cares about you as much as your own family and your closest friends. If you have somebody you've been friends with your entire life, and all of a sudden that person's telling you, hey, you might want to not do this because, I've seen, read, and heard this, and then you're like, no, my doctor said, yeah, well, hey, I'm not getting paid anything to say what I'm saying. Your doctor is. So how about we sit down and discuss things? But the other problem on top of this is people these days don't want to talk. Nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to find out and realize that, oops, I've been fooled. I've been duped. It sucks for all of us. I've had to go through it. Many of us had to go through it. So when you realize this, you come to find out it's really not that big of a deal, folks. It's just, you know what, from now on, now you pay closer attention. You don't get fooled as easily as before. And life actually becomes a little easier because you start really looking into the simple things that you thought were just every day. You know, get back to reading labels like we used to. And you just do your own thinking. And I think that's what I really wanted to get off my chest was the fact that we all just need to really think for ourselves and don't pay so much attention to what the majority says. Because, folks, the majority has proven well over time that it is not always right. In fact, in many ways and instances, the majority has been wrong. And it's always, you know, as we relate to the Bible, it's always a remnant who does the right thing, or who is taken care of, or who is saved. It's a remnant. That is a small amount, folks. There's a reason why the Bible states the path is narrow and few will find it. Alright? It's a narrow path. Few are going to find this path. Not everybody. So when you're sitting in church on Sunday, you should probably look around and know that the majority sitting in that church with you are not on the narrow path. And I hate to say that, but it's true. These aren't my words. This is God. Okay? He says it. Not me. So if you feel like what you're doing is just kind of fitting in and going with the flow, maybe it's time to get out of that comfort zone, get out of that majority, and start looking into, you know, other views on things, the other side of things. If you hear another side, don't worry about, take a few minutes and really look into things. But just remember, you cannot find all your answers online. You're not gonna. This is easily proven by just going back and finding a set of encyclopedias from just 10 years apart. There's a reason why they always came out with new encyclopedias. If everything stayed the same, why would they have to come out with new ones? Oh, we're thinking, they're adding new words. No, they're not. They're changing the meaning of things. And if you start looking back in these older encyclopedias, even older dictionaries, you'll really catch on to this. The same word today does not mean the same thing it meant 40, 50, 60 years ago. And no, folks, this has nothing to do with new knowledge or new experiments or new science. No. It's a narrative. It's something being done. It's malevolent. It's evil. Let's put it that way. It's not good. It's people doing the wrong thing. People trying to change things to fit a set way that goes against how we should be. And if you don't catch it, you're gonna find yourself on that wide road. And you're gonna find yourself traveling fast in one direction, not the direction you want to be going. All right. So really, stand out. Be different. Be your own person, but be that person in God. Give Him thanks for all you do. And remember, it's that simple. Believe in His Son and the gift He gave to us. Life will get a lot easier, and I believe you'll find the proper answers to the questions that you ask. I think that's it. Y'all have a great day. Hopefully this message reaches more people. I'm really trying to get the word out there. Not trying to hurt anybody, folks. Just trying to spread a little truth, spread a little fellowship, spread a little love, and I don't know, make a little community if we can. All right. I'm doing this for you, remember, not for me. I'm doing this for Him, actually. But love y'all. Have a great day.